Have you ever woken up feeling like something is missing, even after a full night's sleep, even after achieving goals that once seemed so important? There is still a heaviness, a silence that echoes inside you. You scroll through your phone, you try to distract yourself with noise, people, tasks, but when everything goes quiet again, that same emptiness returns. Why? Why do you always feel empty? Let me tell you something. This feeling is not a punishment. It is a signal, a sacred whisper from your inner self, and until you stop running from it, until you dare to face it head on, it will never go away. So stop whatever you're doing right now, sit still, breathe, be present, and let us begin to understand the truth that may hurt, but will also set you free. You see, one of the most dangerous illusions in life is the belief that fulfillment will arrive after something. After success, after the relationship, after the money, but that thinking keeps you in a constant state of waiting. You become addicted to the next, and while chasing it, the present moment slips through your fingers again and again. The truth is, your life is not on hold, it is happening right now, but because your mind is trapped in the idea of someday, you miss the beauty, the lessons, and the meaning that exist in this very moment. That's the real tragedy, not that you feel empty, but that you believe something outside of you will fix it. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you sat with yourself without needing to be entertained? When did you last sit in silence, not scrolling, not planning, not escaping, but simply being? Most people can't do it. They feel anxious in silence because silence reflects back all the things they're avoiding. But this is why emptiness becomes a teacher, because if you are willing to face the silence, you can finally hear what your heart is trying to say. Shihengi often reminds us, it is not the external circumstances that disturb your peace, it is your lack of clarity and inner strength. So instead of blaming the world, instead of pointing at others, instead of saying, I feel empty because of them, turn inward. Because inside you is a garden, and if you never water it, nothing grows. Only weeds, self, doubt, fear, regret, but when you water it daily with presence, with discipline, with truth, suddenly you notice something. Stillness becomes strength, discipline becomes joy, simplicity becomes freedom. You don't need to become someone else to feel full. You need to return to yourself. Start removing the noise from your life. Start letting go of anything that does not align with your values. Start saying no to what drains your energy. And start choosing what nourishes you not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. This is not easy, it requires courage, it requires solitude, but it is the path to true peace. The monks train not just for strength, but for clarity. They wake before the sun not because they must, but because they choose to meet life with intention. What if you did the same? What if you approached your own life as a practice? What if you stopped waiting for peace and began to cultivate it? You would begin to realize something profound. Emptiness is not something to fear. It is a mirror. It shows you where you've strayed, and it also points the way back, back to your breath, back to your body, back to the now, because in the now there is no comparison, no shame, no expectation, only presence, and in presence you remember that you are whole, that you always were. So if you feel empty today, sit with it. Breathe through it, listen, it has something to teach you. This is the inner path, the warrior's path, and once you walk it, you never walk the same again. Ask ChatGPT, the reason so many people feel empty is because they have spent their entire lives being disconnected from their purpose, disconnected from their values, and most painfully, disconnected from themselves. You wear masks to be accepted, to be loved, to be seen, but every time you wear a mask, a little piece of your spirit gets buried, and after years of doing this, you don't recognize yourself anymore. This disconnection is subtle, it hides beneath routines, it lives inside the conversations where you say, I'm fine, when your soul is aching. It exists in the silence between your goals and your actual desires. That's why you feel lost even when life on the outside looks good. Because deep inside, something essential is missing you, And the world teaches you how to chase, how to hustle, how to compete. But who teaches you how to be still? How to listen, how to feel? Shihengyi teaches that awareness is the foundation of inner transformation. Without awareness, there is no change, and this awareness can only be found in silence, in simplicity, in being present with yourself long enough to remember what truly matters. When you are disconnected from yourself, you look for wholeness in other people. You try to fill the emptiness with attention, with validation, with temporary highs. But no one can make you feel whole if you don't believe you are worthy of being whole. Healing begins when you take responsibility, not blame, not shame, but responsibility for your growth, for your inner peace, for your return to alignment. You must be willing to ask the hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What values do I actually live by? Am I choosing this life, or am I just surviving it? True fulfillment comes not from chasing more, but from becoming less attached, less distracted, less consumed by things that do not feed your soul. You do not need to be everything. You just need to be fully you. Discipline is the bridge between where you are and where your soul wants to be. That means waking up when it's hard, showing up even when no one is clapping, practicing stillness when your mind is racing, moving your body when your energy feels stuck, speaking truth when silence feels easier. You cannot be whole without alignment, and alignment requires effort. Not effort driven by ego, but effort rooted in intention. When you align your thoughts, your words, and your actions, peace returns. You stop performing, you stop pretending, and slowly that emptiness you feared so much, it fades, because now there is presence, there is connection, there is meaning. Your purpose is not something you find in the distance. It is something you live each day, in how you carry yourself, in how you treat others, in how you speak to your own heart. So remember this, the path is not about becoming someone else. The path is about remembering who you are beneath the noise, beneath the expectations, beneath the fear. The real you was never empty, just unheard. Unseen, forgotten, it's time to return. When you feel empty, most people will tell you to do more, work harder, set more goals, keep yourself busy. And while discipline and movement are important, doing more is not always the answer. Sometimes it's not about adding, but subtracting, removing the layers of distraction, fear, comparison, and doubt that have clouded your inner clarity. You must understand, the emptiness you feel is not failure. It is not weakness. It is not a flaw in your character. It is a signal that you have been living too long out of rhythm with your truth, that your energy has been scattered in 100 directions, yet none of them are bringing you home. Look around you. How many people live as if they are machines? Wake up, consume, produce, repeat. But you are not a machine. You are a soul, a consciousness, a living presence. And when that soul is neglected, when your presence is sacrificed in the name of performance, a hollow space opens inside of you. You can't solve a spiritual hunger with material things. You can't silence the call of your inner self by chasing the applause of others. That noise only delays the pain, it doesn't dissolve it. This is why silence is sacred, why solitude is not loneliness. It is a return to self. The monks understand this deeply. In the silence of the temple, in the repetition of movement, in the awareness of breath, they meet the parts of themselves the outside world ignores. That is where peace lives, not in the comfort, but in the connection. So I ask you again, how connected are you to you? Do you know what brings your spirit alive? Do you listen to your inner voice, or do you drown it in the noise of the world? Shihengyi reminds us, you cannot pour clean water into a dirty cup and expect it to remain clean. If your life is filled with chaos, meaningless routines, and suppressed emotions, even the most beautiful moments will feel empty, because your inner container is not prepared to receive. You must cleanse the space. Internally, mentally, emotionally, and physically, cleanse your thoughts by observing them, not attaching to every fear, not believing every negative story your mind tells you. Cleanse your body through movement and discipline, because a stagnant body becomes a stagnant life. Cleanse your heart by forgiving yourself first, and then others, not to forget, but to stop carrying what is too heavy for your soul. Once that space is clear, you will begin to feel something you may not have felt in a long time: aliveness. Not the kind that needs excitement or noise, but the quiet kind that comes from being fully here, fully aware, fully you. You don't need to become extraordinary to feel whole. You just need to live honestly, live intentionally, and live with your eyes open, not just to the world outside, but to the world within. And when you do, the emptiness that once haunted you becomes a doorway, a path, a silent guide back to something real, back to peace. You must understand this deeply. Peace is not something you find. Peace is something you create. And to create peace, you must be willing to face what is uncomfortable. You must stop trying to numb yourself from every ache of the soul, and instead begin to listen to it. Emptiness is not the enemy, it is the beginning, because only when something is empty can it be filled with new life, new energy, new intention. But if you keep trying to patch that emptiness with temporary distractions, with shallow validation, or with surface-level success, you'll never experience the real transformation your spirit is asking for. What Shihengyi teaches is not for the faint of heart. His message is for those who are ready to train their way out of suffering, not run from it, not escape it, but meet it fully, face to face, with breath, with presence, with awareness. And that is where many of you hesitate, because facing yourself is not easy. It means sitting in silence when your thoughts are loud. It means breathing through discomfort instead of avoiding it. It means learning to be patient when your whole life has been trained to rush. You feel empty because you have spent too much time outside of yourself. Your energy flows into the world, into others, into things. But rarely does it return to you. You give and give and give. But do you receive from your own presence? Start practicing the return to the breath, to stillness, to presence. Start each day not by reaching for your phone, but by reaching inward. Ask, what does my spirit need today? What is unspoken in me that wants to be heard? If the mind is a wild horse, then the breath is the reins. And with every conscious breath, you pull your awareness back from the distractions, back from the outside world, back into now. And in the now, your emptiness begins to dissolve. It's not because your problems are gone. It's because you are finally present with yourself. No more hiding, no more escaping, just truth. Even pain, when faced with clarity, becomes healing. Even fear, when observed without judgment, becomes wisdom. This is what the monks understand. This is what Shihengyi embodies. Not perfection, but practice. Not escape, but acceptance. Not control, but harmony. So if you're tired of feeling empty, stop asking what you need to add. Ask instead, what must I let go of? What habits no longer serve me? What thoughts keep me trapped in suffering? What stories about myself have I believed for too long? Emptying is part of the process, but once you empty what is false, what is heavy, what is unnecessary, then space opens, and in that space peace enters, purpose enters, presence enters, and slowly you remember. You were never empty, you were always whole, you just forgot where to look. Many people believe emptiness means something is wrong, but what if I told you the feeling of emptiness is actually your soul asking you to wake up? To stop living half present, half alive, chasing the next thing without understanding why. We live in a world that teaches you to run faster, push harder, fill every silence with noise, and avoid every still moment like it's your enemy. But this modern way of living, always distracted, always seeking stimulation, it leads to spiritual exhaustion. The body may still move, the eyes may still open, but inside there's no spark. That spark goes dim not because you're weak, but because your energy is scattered. Shihengyi teaches that where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if your attention is constantly on what's missing, what's wrong, what others think, your energy becomes drained. And when your energy is drained, even the smallest tasks feel heavy. Even the beautiful moments feel dull. Even when you're surrounded by people, you feel alone. The cure is not found in changing your outside environment. The cure begins when you decide to reclaim your attention, when you pull it back from the noise and place it on your breath, your movement, your choices. Every day you are training something, whether you realize it or not. You're either training presence or distraction, strength or weakness, clarity or confusion. The choice is not once a year, once a month. It is every single morning, every moment. You may say, I don't know who I am anymore, but that's not a failure. That is the beginning, because now you are ready to relearn. You are ready to rebuild from something real, not from expectation, not from comparison, not from past conditioning, but from awareness. And awareness is like a light in a dark room. The darkness doesn't fight the light. The moment you turn it on, the shadows retreat. This is what happens when you bring awareness to your emptiness. You see that it's not a void to be feared, but a space for clarity to emerge. Let go of the need to fix everything. You are not a project, you are a presence, and that presence doesn't need more things to feel whole. It needs depth, it needs truth, it needs stillness. Shihengi walks with intention, breathes with awareness, moves with discipline, not to impress the world, but to stay in harmony with the self. You can do the same. You don't need a temple. Your body is your temple. Your breath is your teacher. Your life is your path. If you want to stop feeling empty, stop running from what is real, sit with yourself, move your body with care, eat with awareness, speak only what aligns with your values. Protect your time, protect your energy, let go of what no longer resonates, not with anger but with clarity. This is not the easy path, but it is the only one that leads to peace, and the deeper you walk it, the more you realize what you were looking for was never far away. It was never out there. It was always waiting in the stillness within. You want to feel alive again, but life is not something that returns because you wish for it. Life returns when you show up for it. When you meet yourself where you are not where you think you should be, not where others told you to be, but right here, right now, in this breath, in this body, in this moment. The reason the emptiness feels endless is because you've been waiting for someone else to fix it. For something to happen that will make everything click, but the truth is hard. It's no one else's job to save you. It's your path. It's your inner world. No one can walk it for you. Shihengi speaks often of self-mastery. That's not about controlling the world. It's about understanding yourself so deeply that the outer world can no longer disturb your inner peace. When you master your inner world, your outer life begins to follow. But most people have it backward. They try to control everything outside of them while ignoring the chaos within. You can't escape the emptiness by rearranging your circumstances. New friends, new clothes, new job, new city. They may distract you for a while, but if the foundation remains untouched, the void always returns. What must change is the relationship you have with your own mind. Your own heart, your own silence. Stillness is not empty. Stillness is full, full of awareness, full of truth, full of the answers you've been running from. Why do you avoid silence? Because silence reveals everything. It reveals the pain, the regret, the inner conflict, but it also reveals your power. It reveals your clarity. It reveals the way back to yourself. You were not born empty. As a child, you laughed without reason, danced without rhythm, and smiled without needing permission. That joy was not manufactured. It was natural. It was your essence. That essence is not gone. It is simply buried under years of noise, pressure, and disconnection. Your job is not to create yourself. It is to uncover yourself. To remove what is false, to release what does not belong, to trust that what remains is not only enough, but sacred, and this path, it is walked step by step, in daily practice, with mindfulness, with effort. With humility, wake up early not because you must, but because it is a chance to meet yourself before the world interferes. Move your body, not to sculpt it into something for others to admire, but to honor the temple that carries your spirit. Eat with intention, not to chase a certain image, but to nourish the energy that fuels your purpose. Speak less, but mean more. Listen more, but react less. These are the quiet practices. They do not shout. They do not impress, but they heal, and slowly the emptiness fades, not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger, wiser, more present. You begin to see the truth. You were never lost. You just stopped listening. Now it's time to return. So if today you feel lost, if you feel like something is missing, do not look outside. Do not wait for the world to fix it. Go inward. Breathe deeply. Begin again. Emptiness is not your enemy. It is your invitation. Accept it, walk into it, and let it guide you home.